So let me guess, you're moving to the Charlotte area and you have no idea what there is to do, and maybe you're not too excited about that fact. So in this video, I'm going to go through and share with you what you need to know about activities, places to go, people to see, events going on, and everything in between. In fact, I'm also going to give you some of my secret favorite places in Charlotte, so be sure to stick to the end of this video because you will not want to miss it. Not all of them are listed on a map. Now, if you're looking for everything Charlotte, North Carolina, the good, the bad, the in-between, and even the things you didn't know you needed to know, you've come to the right channel. Go ahead and like and subscribe. I go through every single week and uncover what you need to know about North Carolina, specifically Charlotte and the South Carolina area. Now, if you want to see every time I drop a video, be sure to hit that notification button and you'll be notified every time one drops. Now, I truly do get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites every single day from people just like you looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Now, I have been honored to help so many of you make the move, and I know some of you are still watching, so I thank you for that. If you're thinking about making the move, whether it's 9 days or 90 days from now, whether it's across the country or just across town, be sure to go ahead and give me a call, a text, an email, send me a Zoom link, and I'll get together and make sure your move is everything you want it to be. All right, so let's hop into our video for today. We're talking all about Charlotte and what there is to do. I recently had a sit down with a client of mine and I realized there's not an easy place or a simple place to figure out where you can go to find things that you like to do in Charlotte. So I'm going to uncover some of them for you. Hopefully some of these fit the bill, but I know there'll be something for everyone. So let's start with the outdoors. Yes, Charlotte is an absolutely lush green city. And it's something that many of my clients mention when they move into the area, that they're kind of shocked. There's so many trees, so much greenery. It truly is a gorgeous city. And that was one of the things that I loved about it when I first moved here and definitely stole my heart. But while trees are great and nice to look at, what is there to do outside? Well, one thing to keep in mind with regards to Charlotte, many of the areas that you're going to go to, whether it be a bar, a restaurant, an event space, many of these places are outdoors or offer outdoor options. The reason being, well, almost 3/4 of our year, you can actually sit outside and enjoy the weather. That's right. We do get some hot temperatures in summer. We get some chilly temperatures in winter. But for the most part, you can enjoy the outdoors almost all year long, which is pretty exciting. So let's talk about the outdoors. When we're talking about the outdoors, I'm going to be talking about hiking, biking, swimming, you name it. So let's start from the north and the west. Charlotte is flanked by some beautiful lakes and rivers. So one of the biggest outdoor activities as people like to partake in is going to be boating, swimming, water skiing. But one of my personal favorites is going to be surfing. That's right. Wake surfing is a big thing in North and South Carolina, mostly because if you're further inland, you don't have the ability to just pop over to the ocean in 5 minutes. Instead, you pop over to the lake. So we do wake surfing here. Now, a lot of people don't want to own a boat. Honestly, I don't want to own a boat. It's a lot of maintenance. The best day in a boat owner's life is the day you buy it and the day you sell it. At least that's what I've heard. And it's true. We bought a boat. I don't want one. The good thing is you can rent any vehicle that you need for the lake at multiple locations on each of the lakes. Now that's Lake Norman to the north, Lake Wylie to the south, and everything in between, you can go ahead and grab your inner tubes because that's our next spot. You can go ahead and go inner tubing. Now that might sound kind of boring to some, but when you load up your cooler with your favorite beverage, grab some of your favorite friends and jump out onto the lake and do a little lazy river ride all the way down, it is one of the best Saturday or Sunday afternoons you can have in the Carolinas in summer. Now, while you might want to do this not in winter, just in summer, there's plenty of winter activities we can do outside as well that I'm going to talk about in just a second. So now let's jump to the hiking, the biking, all of those types of activities. Now, North Carolina does have mountains out to the west and we're flatter towards the east, obviously. But with that in mind, Charlotte actually sits in a really nice location where you're about an hour and a half from Boone in the north, 2 hours from Asheville, but there's an even closer location where you can do some hiking if you don't want to drive that far. Crowder's Mountain is a very popular spot for those that want to get in an actual mountain hike and take in some of the scenery when you get to the top. It's absolutely beautiful, and it sits out near Kings Mountain, which is only about 45 minutes from downtown Charlotte. So if you want to take a quick hike, that's exactly where you're going to want to go. Now, one of the things I love most about Crowder's, aside from how close it is actually because it feels like you're in the mountains. You're right at the foothills is what they consider it. So it's got a very short drive. So maybe you're not somebody who likes to take a hike very often, but you do want to get out and about. Well, Charlotte has so many parks. It's absolutely incredible. Now, when I'm talking about Charlotte, I mean actually Charlotte the city, but also the towns surrounding Charlotte. Parks are a really important part of what the city actually offers. Now, I'm not talking about just a patch of grass or a basketball hoop. I'm talking about actual huge grassy areas and picnic tables and park areas where you can go grilling, giant gymnasiums where your kids can go play, or maybe you as well, because I also like to go in the jungle gym still. So all of these are offered all throughout the Charlotte area. One of my favorites is Freedom Park. It's located just outside of downtown, but there's these beautiful oak trees and maple trees that kind of come over. There's an amphitheater there. It's absolutely gorgeous. So on top of parks, Charlotte actually has a ton, miles and miles and miles of greenways. Now, there's a greenway actually that goes right behind my house, and we love it. Not to mention, everybody in the communities around it loves it. With this, it connects so many different neighborhoods to one another, places where maybe you wouldn't actually normally go, or wouldn't normally see when you're driving in your car. The greenways all throughout Charlotte run all the way down, some through Huntersville, up through the university area, down in the center of town, and all over the lower quadrant of Charlotte. Now, the goal at some point is actually to connect all of these greenways, but the nice thing is, all of the lengths that are already in existence are several miles long, each of them. So we do enjoy it. I know lots of other people do. It's a great spot where you can go out for a walk, a run. You can ride your bikes, of course, take the kids out, and of course, go for a run or a walk with the dogs. All are welcome. And in addition to that, some of the communities have actually matched it up where it meets up with their community pool as well as their community playgrounds, tennis courts, etc. So there's a lot of other places you can go play. So maybe you're not somebody that wants to go out and go for a run or be outside to do fitness. Well, being we're talking about walking and hiking and all of these things, I figured I would go ahead and talk a little bit about fitness facilities in Charlotte. Now, I myself, I've been to many different gyms throughout the Charlotte area, whether you like doing Pilates or hot yoga, or maybe a combination. I've seen that before. Or you want to go ahead and join a CrossFit gym or something specific like an F45 where it's a quick hit, or an Orange Theory. Or maybe you're more of a Planet Fitness type, or maybe an LA Fitness where you can go swimming. Or maybe the YMCA. Yes, all of these things are in Charlotte. Now, the nice thing about that is they're also spread out. So you've got an LA Fitness in multiple spots. You've got Planet Fitnesses in multiple spots. You've got Anytime Fitness. They all have the word fitness in it. Are you catching on? Now, in addition to that, you've got kickboxing places like 9 Rounds. Now, all of these places are sprinkled throughout, so no matter where you are living in the Charlotte area, you'll be able to access one of these facilities, or multiple of them, depending upon what you enjoy. I definitely enjoy that, and I like that the way they spread those out. I don't know if it was planned, but I do appreciate it. Now, I do get the question a lot, is Charlotte a walkable city? Now, this can mean different things to different people. If you grew up in Manhattan, perhaps walkable means I never have to get in my car and I can get my groceries and my coffee and everything that I need. If that's the case and that's what you mean, there are certain areas of Charlotte that can be living walkable, but in most cases you will need a vehicle. Now, what I tend to think of when I think of a walkable city is, can I go out? Are there things to do where I can walk around to a soda shop, or I can walk around to a coffee shop, or a bar, or a restaurant, or a bookstore, things like that? And the answer is yes. The way Charlotte has been designed is that you do have these little clusters of areas where you can basically park your car, go walk around, do some shopping, have a wonderful afternoon or evening out on the town, and it doesn't have to be just downtown Charlotte. Some of my favorite spots are going to be South End, Dilworth, Plaza Midwood, Noda, and some of the inner skirts right around there. Now, the reason why I bring those particular ones up, you could literally spend all day and all night in these neighborhoods and never have to go anywhere else. So with that, yes, there is walkability. Now, another question that I got recently is, are there a place to just sit down at a coffee shop and just write or just read or just relax? The answer is yes. I didn't realize this wasn't popular in some other cities, but we have so many coffee shops and a lot of them are really niche. So there's a couple that are bars, but they're also coffee shops. There's some that are breweries and they have coffee shops. There are some where you can go and hang out with cats that are adoptable and read and write and sip on coffee and do whatever you please. So yes, there are a lot of locations where you can just post up for the day and do some work and no one is going to ask you to leave or buy anything, which is really cool. So if you work from home and you need to get out, there are tons of areas or locations that you can go to get out of the house, still get your work done, and probably enjoy some people watching while you're at it. So let's now hit on motorcycle riding. So I ride a bike, or I used to, and I do understand that when you're in a city, it's not exactly where you want to go ride, right? When you are out and about, those that are watching this that ride motorcycles, you don't necessarily want to ride around in the city. What I will say is that because the traffic isn't too terrible at all whatsoever, it is a fairly safe city to ride in. What I will also note is you go 10 minutes in any direction and you're going to have these beautiful winding roads through the backcountry. And that is something I love riding through. You can go sightseeing with the houses, whatever you want to do, but I loved the open road with some beautiful curves. Now I said 10 minutes, I'm saying maybe 20. How about that? But it's very close for you to go ahead and start to see those beautiful country roads, and you don't have to drive up to the mountains to get them. So if you've thought about or you do ride, Charlotte and the surrounding areas have some absolutely magnificent sightseeing rides that you can take. So let's get to events. A lot of people ask me about this, right? What's the music scene? What's the sports scene? Are there actual events that happen in town? Where can I go? Are there clubs? So let's get to more of the action, right? So let's start from the back and move forward. Let's talk about clubs. Yes, I'm probably a little bit too old to be at a club and I haven't been in quite some time, but Charlotte does have a pretty cool club scene. Now, it depends upon what you're looking for, but they have a different style for everyone. They've got 90s and 2000s bars. They've got karaoke bars. You've got your everyday ordinary bar. You have your, I would say, college age bars. You've got your 30-somethings bars. And they even have some really cool locations and bars for Latin music, as well as those want to enjoy a little bit of an older genre, which I would say probably be in your 60s and 70s. Not age, I'm talking about the actual age of the music. The cool thing about that is you don't feel like you only have one option, right? Just the every Saturday night. Guess what? You don't have to go to those kind of clubs to have a good time and get out there and dance. So if you are thinking about going out clubbing in Charlotte, you've definitely got some options. Now, taking it a step back, I really don't club anymore, and I'm sure many of you don't either, but you still want to go out on the night on the town, and you don't just want to sit in a dingy bar. I get it. There are so many options. Now, some of my favorites, if you want to go out and have a little bit of fun or something new, Charlotte actually has a lot of speakeasies. Now, I know that prohibition is not happening right now. We all know that. But the idea of a speakeasy where you need to have the password and know where the secret door is and go in, these speakeasies actually still do that. You need to know the passcode, you need to know where to go, and it doesn't even look like a door half the time. Some are behind bookshelves, other ones are in telephone booths. It's really cool. But it gives a fun night out, almost with a theme. Now, these particular speakeasies, they focus very much on mixology, and their cocktails are to die for. Some of them serve, some of them do not when it comes to tapas items or charcuterie, but you can go ahead and seek them out online. Yes, they all do have websites, but shh, don't tell anybody. Now, some of the other spots that I love if you just want to go get a night out, there's some amazing wine bars, tequila bars, basically what I would call specialty environments or specialty bars, where you can go out and you know the kind of ambiance you're going to have and who's going to be around you. Now, they do also still have your classic old sports bar. Don't worry, we're not, too fancy here. So there's a lot of sports bars as well. And of course, we do still have some of your run-of-the-mill, what I would consider chain restaurants and bars that you can, of course, frequent. So now let's talk about the music scene. Charlotte is amazing when it comes to music. So I love music myself, and while I do enjoy smaller bands that are, playing on a back patio out in one of my favorite bars, I also love to see some of the larger artists come into town. Now, I'm also going to point out here when I say music, also comedians, we do have them come through as well, but we have some major stages for them to be on. Now, there's the 3 top locations where you would go see some artists, and I'm going to start with the smaller of the 3. The smaller of the 3 is PNC Pavilion, which is actually on the east side of the city. Now, in this location, this is where you're going to see, I would say, music tours. So like the Warped Tour, which is all rock. You're going to see Jimmy Buffett. You'll see Evanescence and Lindsey Sterling. There's a lot of great artists that come through and a ton of country artists as well. Now, the second location where you would go see some pretty big named artists is going to be the Spectrum Center downtown. Now, the Spectrum Center is fully enclosed. There's a roof. It's actually where the Hornets play, which we'll get to in a minute. The Spectrum Center has had artists, just varying. One of the more recent ones that I absolutely loved was Pink came into town, but there are a ton of artists that come through there. Now, the third one, which is the largest, and when I say largest, I'm talking about seating, is going to be the Bank of America Stadium. Now, the Bank of America Stadium is where the Panthers play, our football team, but again, it's where some very large artists play. Now, we're talking about like the Taylor Swifts and Beyoncés, the Billy Joels, they come and play at that location. Now, that is open air, so if you get your tickets in December, bring a jacket. But for the most part, they have some amazing concerts that come through, and regardless of the temperatures, the crowds still come out in force. Now, there's still a lot of other smaller areas where you can go to find some great music. Things like the Abbott Exchange, the Fillmore, and also the Underground. Most of those are located actually at the Music Factory, which is one of my favorite places and favorite bars and restaurants, which is VBGB attached to that, and that's VBGB. Amazing food when you're talking about bar food, and a great location if you want to go ahead and grab a beer and some food before your favorite concert. Just in walking distance, right around the corner. So now let's hit on sports, right? Now, I don't watch a ton of sports, I'm going to be perfectly honest. However, we do have some great sports teams in Charlotte. Now, we do share our sports teams with South Carolina. I see you guys. We're on the border, so we all come to it together, which is why they call them the Carolina Panthers, not the North Carolina Panthers. You will be corrected. Now, the Carolina Panthers, we recently, over the last few years, made it to a Super Bowl. Didn't quite pull it out, but that's okay. We still love them. But the Carolina Panthers, they actually play here in Charlotte, but of course, South Carolina is a part of that. Now, another major team that we have goes to basketball, the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have been around for a very long time, and while we have changed names, we still have some incredible players that have stuck with us throughout the years. Now, they play down at the Spectrum Center, which is right downtown. Great location, and the games are amazing. If you are able to snag some tickets right down on the actual floor, you do get access to the back with extra food and drinks, and you do get to see the basketball players enter on and off the court. All right, so now let's jump to soccer. For those of you watching from overseas, anywhere outside of the United States, I'm talking about football. But here, it's soccer. So we have an amazing soccer team that just got started here in Charlotte, and it has actually been drawing some amazing crowds. Now, this shocked me a little bit because I know soccer isn't nearly as popular in the States as it is outside of the US. But because we now have a team, it gives people an additional reason to get out and support the Carolinas. So now let's talk about hockey. Now, this one is going to flip the script because instead of the hockey team that is actually in the majors being here, we have the minor team, the Charlotte Checkers. The Charlotte Checkers are here in Charlotte. They always go to the Bojangles Coliseum, which, funny enough, Bojangles Coliseum was supposed to be the center of Charlotte, but as it grew, it actually turned into the southeast part of Charlotte for the Bojangles Coliseum. Pretty interesting. Our major team is actually the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes play in Raleigh, which is the capital in North Carolina. But hey, we love our Checkers, and they are absolutely amazing. The games are so much fun to go watch, and don't make the mistake I did. There's 3 periods in hockey. It's not halves. You can ask me that story later. So now let's talk about baseball. Now, I grew up in a baseball family. Baseball is near and dear to most Americans' hearts, and Charlotte has a team. Now, funny enough, I will also point out that one of the towns on the outskirts of Charlotte, Kannapolis, also now has a team. How cool is that? Now the Charlotte team is actually called the Charlotte Knights. The Knights baseball team plays numerous nights, get it, a week here in Charlotte during the on-season. You can get tickets that are for the season. You can also go ahead and just get a ticket for the night, but they have some great options if you want to throw events where you can actually rent an entire section behind the dugout full with food and drinks and whatever you need. It is a lot of fun. Now, don't worry, I saved the best for last. Now, when I say the best, for me, I do not watch it. However, Charlotte is known for NASCAR. That's right. We even have the NASCAR Hall of Fame right downtown. It's actually pretty cool to go check out. They take you through the history of NASCAR, which actually started way back in the Prohibition area. That's right. We come right back to Prohibition, didn't we? In the Prohibition area, they used to have guys that would actually run the liquor. And with that, they had to have the fastest cars, but they also had to make sure that the liquor and moonshine didn't break while they were trying to outrun the cops. So as it evolved, you know, boys and their toys, they're going to soup them up and start racing them just for fun. Well, this evolved and it ended up turning into NASCAR. And being Charlotte is such a popular spot for NASCAR, they have the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, the Charlotte Motor Speedway is located in Concord, but it's just over the border from Charlotte. Now, while there aren't many NASCAR events that happen here, the stadium does need to get used. So, not only can you go ahead and rent a car that you can either have yourself driven around at 120 miles an hour, very cool, I've done it, you should do it, but you can also go through a whole process where you can take a driver training and take it out there yourself. Now, if you don't want to go through all that, but you don't want to go that fast, there's another opportunity for you to drive on the Charlotte Motor Speedway. How? Christmas time. Christmas time, the Charlotte Motor Speedway actually puts together a light festival where you can drive your vehicle through the lights festival. And what this is, they've got these beautiful setups, different, I'm going to say, themes throughout, where you drive through, see the lights, go watch a movie on a big blow up screen. It's actually really cool. And you do get to drive on the actual raceway. How neat is that? So last but not least, I told you I would talk about some of my favorite things about Charlotte when it comes to getting out and getting things happening. One of these things has to do with breweries. All right, this literally is a topic all in of itself. Charlotte and the surrounding areas actually have 75 plus breweries. You heard me right, 75 plus breweries in the Charlotte and surrounding areas. Now, I cannot name them all. I have not even been to a fraction of them. Honestly, I have my favorites and we just keep going back. But there's a taste for everyone. And in addition to that, breweries have actually become a family event. What do I mean by that? Well, you are welcome to bring your kiddos and your dog. Of course, your four-legged friends are just to many, just as important, right? So you can bring your kids and your dogs to most breweries in and around Charlotte. Now, some allow them inside, the dogs. Some only allow them outside, so keep that in mind. Kiddos are welcome in and out. Now, the actual feel for a lot of breweries are not like it's a party house. It's not a place you're going to go drinking. It's a place where you're going to go socialize. Many of them actually have kitchens for food, and if not, they have a food truck that usually is stationed right outside so you can get whatever you need and make an afternoon of it. In fact, many breweries actually either have large games outside, such as chess or giant Jenga or things of that nature, cornhole. But they also a lot of times have board games. Now you might be thinking, why would I play a board game outside? Well, here's the thing. A lot of these breweries, because you're going just to spend the afternoon with friends, family, or just yourself, they have board games available or other games so you can sit and have a good time and have something to do. I love that breweries have become such a family-friendly place. It just makes it so much easier to go out and get connected and stay connected with friends, whether they've got kids or not. And now we need to talk about events. There are so many different events that happen in Charlotte, from events for the spring to events for the fall to Christmas festivals and things of that nature. But one of my absolute favorites, and this is why I saved the best for last, has got to be the St. Patty's Fest at the Whitewater Center. And the Whitewater Center is one of my favorite places in Charlotte because it combines everything that I love, and you might love as well. From being able to take your dog out, it's family friendly, they've got local brews, you can do some great outdoor activities, and they always have live music, especially during the spring, summer, and fall, called River Jam. Now, let me get back to that event real quick though. So the Whitewater Center hosts an event right around St. Patty's Day every year, and they dive there in, I'm going to call it an interior river, completely green. They have these great bands that are there. They have a fun run. You name it. It is like just an amazing day. It's so much fun. So we go out every single year. We drink our beer. We listen to our music. And we have an absolute blast watching everybody whitewater raft. So you might be wondering, how's there whitewater rafting in Charlotte? No, we don't have a whole lot of rapids on the Catawba River. But what ended up getting installed several years back was the Whitewater Center. Now, this place is epic. They actually used to do the time trials for the Olympics at the Whitewater Center. Now, while they don't do the time trials there anymore, it doesn't diminish what they offer. Now, if you're somebody who already has your own bike and helmet, or you like to go run on the trails, you can go there and actually you don't have to pay to use their trails. In fact, you don't have to pay to be on the premises at the facility. You can still enjoy the music, sit out on the lawn, take nice walks, go for a run. But here's the cool thing. With one $5 parking, you get access to all that, or you can go ahead and pay, I think it's still $20 for a year-long parking pass. Where else can you spend $20 and get that much fun for an entire year? You tell me. But here's where it gets even better. If you want to go ahead and get a pass for the day or for the year, which is only $365 for the year, you can access everything at the Whitewater Center all year long. I'm talking mountain biking. They'll give you the bike and the helmet. I'm talking you can go rock climbing. They'll go ahead and belay you whenever you need it, and there's multiple spots. You can go on ropes courses, zip lining, dead drops, which is where you literally drop off a 60-foot tower. It's very scary and really cool. In addition to that, they have in-air obstacle courses where you can walk on a log 30 feet in the air. It definitely challenges you mentally, but it's completely safe with double harness and safety systems. You actually can't get off of it if you wanted to. Now, in addition to that, you can also go paddleboarding or kayaking, and of course, whitewater rafting. That's right, they do have an internal system. It's all outside. And when I say internal system, I mean they pull the water from the Catawba River and treat it, and then they utilize that water in their whitewater rapids. Now, if you do fall out, don't worry. It's only about 3 feet deep and you'll be perfectly fine. But it is so much fun to sit there listening to music, eating a hamburger or a salad, whatever you prefer, drinking some beer and listening to some music while you're watching people whitewater raft. Yes, this is a spectator sport as well, I can attest. So if you're not already convinced after all of this that Charlotte has so much going on, I'm going to add one more piece. If you're a dog person, we have dog bars galore. Now, you don't have to drink to go to these dog bars. They have cool events and specialty events all year long, but it is a place where we are super pet friendly. So restaurants, bars, actually a lot of shopping, you can actually bring your dog in. So now after all of that, if you're not convinced Charlotte is a cool enough place and you want more information, drop it in the comments below. What are some things that you like to do? I'll go ahead and let you know if Charlotte has it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I brought you some great information. Go ahead and make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you have questions, drop them below. But remember, whether it's 9 days or 90 days from now, whether you're moving across the country or just across town, go ahead and shoot me a text, an email, give me a call, set up a Zoom. All of my contact information is right below in the comments. I want to hear from you and I want to make your move exactly what you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town.